Hi, this is Ron Darling.
This is Skip Lockwood.
Hi, I'm Ron Swoboda of the 69 New York Mets, and you're listening to MetsMusings with Gary Mack.
Now it's time for some New York Mets baseball talk. Here's Gary Mack bringing you the latest news and analysis from Mets Nation and the world of baseball on another edition of MetsMusings.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of MetsMusings. Hope everybody had a great week out there. Well, the players are starting to report to spring training in Port St. Lucie, but there is still no Pete Alonso. In fact, Pete Alonso is a man without a team at this time. He has yet to sign anywhere. Still, the Mets reportedly is still talking to him. And there's been all kinds of crazy reports that he's going to fire Scott Boras and then sign. And then some people say he's going to sign and then fire Scott Boras. All speculation at this point, but Pete is a man, it seems, without a team at this point in time, and it's really a shame. We've seen some video clips of players who have showed up at Port St. Lucie early. Brandon Nimmo is down there, and Clay Holmes and Ronnie Mauricio has been spotted fielding and doing other baseball activities, so that's a good sign for the Metsies. But as I said, no Pete Alonso as of yet. My guess is that he will be signed by the weekend or early next week. I think he's had enough. I think he's going to sign with the Mets, and maybe the Mets will up their offer slightly. I could see him signing for like 3 years, 75 to 80 million. If the Mets came up from that 68 to 70 million, come up to 75 to 80, he perhaps would sign that. So we sit and wait as we have all winter. All winter we've waited really to see which way Pete Alonso was going to go. Once we got Juan Soto into the fold, then it became the Pete Alonso show. So we're waiting to see what happens to him. In case you missed it, Max Scherzer signed with the Blue Jays, the former Met, and Carlos Carrasco, also the former Met, signed with the New York Yankees. So that's a bit of signing that occurred over this past week. And the Mets struck a deal for another potential bench bat last Friday, signing infielder Nick Madrigal to a one-year pact. It's a split contract worth different amounts in the majors and the minors. On paper, Madrigal is a replacement for Jose Iglesias, the popular infielder who the Mets had pursued aggressively in free agent, or have not pursued, I should say, aggressively in free agency. Unlike Iglesias, Madrigal has an acceptable minor league option, allowing the Mets to start him in Triple-A Syracuse if they so desire. Number overall pick of the White Sox in the 2018 draft. Madrigal battled .317 his first two big league seasons, but hasn't reached such lofty heights since, producing a .251, .304, .312 slash line since that time. Much like Iglesias, he's capable of playing both second and third, and is one of the more difficult hitters in baseball to strike out, doing so in just 9% of his career plate in appearances. Madrigal was traded to the Cubs in a package for Greg Kimbrell at the 2021 trade deadline and was non-tendered after last season. So Nick Madrigal is now a New York Met. So welcome to the fold, Nick. Good to see you. And hopefully it's going to all work out well here for you, as well as for the other guys that have signed so far. All right, the Mets are talking about a reunion with a fan favorite from a couple of years back. The Mets have offered free agent Mark Canha a non-guaranteed deal per John Heyman of the New York Post, who does not specify exactly when the offer was made. Canha, who is 36 years old, slashed .242, .344, .346 with 7 home runs, 20 doubles, 46 runs scored, and 42 RBI in 125 games for the Tigers and Giants in 2024. He played for the Mets from 2022 until the middle of the 2023 season when he was traded to the Brewers for right-handed pitcher Justin Jarvis during New York's trade deadline sell-off. During his time in Queens, Canha hit .259 in 229 games while spending the majority of his time in left field. He also played center field, right field, third base, and first base for the Mets. Canha played mostly first base, 50 games, and corner outfield, 43 games last season. If brought back on a non-guaranteed deal, he would be fighting for a roster spot during spring training. So, Mark Canha, who did he did a really good job when he was here with the Mets a couple of years ago, and became a little bit of a fan favorite. And now they're talking about bringing him back, and it may be a good choice, especially if, whether Alonso signs or not. He has experience at first base, so that's good. He could back up Vientos or Alonso, and he can back up in the outfield as well with Nimmo, or even play a little center field at times, backing up Taylor into a series. So it may not be a bad move to bring back a guy like Canha. He can play in New York. He has played here before. The pressure doesn't bother him. And those are the kind of guys you want. So maybe Mark Canha will accept the offer. My guess, he's probably waiting to see if he can get a major league deal, guaranteed major league deal instead of non-guaranteed deal. But, time is getting short now. Spring training starts in a week, I think. Pitches and catches. The Mets in a week. I believe the Chicago Cubs will kick it off at February 9th, I believe they're reporting. So it's really there. We're there now. We're a brief way away. And these guys have got to decide, or else they're going to come in late and struggle like a lot of the other guys did in the past that stayed out, held out, and then came in February or March, and then got off the slow starts and never really could recover during the year. So we'll see what happens there. The Mets recently unveiled their new blue alternate road jerseys, but that's not the only big change coming to their uniforms for the 2025 season. The road gray uniforms are also getting an update per Uniwatch. The jersey will have the same classic New York across the chest in blue with an orange outline, but the collar and sleeve trim, the collar and sleeve trim will have royal blue, orange, royal blue stripes. Meanwhile, the pants will be adding the same new royal blue, orange, royal blue stripes down the side. This means that the blue piping that had been on the middle of the road jerseys has been removed, while the blue piping that was on the side of the pants has been replaced by the royal blue, orange, royal blue stripe. The blue, orange, blue trim style of the new gray road jerseys and pants is similar to the trim the Mets had on their road and home uniforms from 1978 to 1981. According to UniWatch, the Mets' black alternate home jersey and cap and pinstripe home uniform will be unchanged for the 2025 season. That means that the Mets' home blue alternate jersey will not be in the rotation this season. So fans of the blue jersey at home will not get to see them. They are only allowed, as I think we said last week, that they're only allowed 5 different jerseys, and that's by changing the road uniform that will meet that criteria, and they don't have any room for the blue alternate jersey. So maybe they should ditch the City Connect and just go back to the blue jersey. That's what I say. All right, let's take a quick break and be back. So listen to this.
Baseball and BBQ, your place for interesting baseball talk, opinions, and history.
Baseball and BBQ, your place for barbecue recipes, tips, and interviews from the world of barbecue. If you like baseball and if you like barbecue, then tune in to Baseball and BBQ. Find us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, and BaseballTalkRadio.com.
And we are back. And Sean Manaea, what a year. He had a great year last year. He signed a nice contract. He's going to be back this year. And now he won the Ben Epstein, Dan Castellano Good Guy Award in January. And the award is given annually to a player who is friendly and cooperative with the media. Manaea received the award at the Baseball Writers Association of America New York chapter dinner. So congratulations to Sean Manaea. That's a nice award. And he is a good guy. He always seems to be open and friendly and with the press and never ducks them or anything like that. So good for him. Good to Sean Manaea. Congratulations. MLB Pipeline 2025 top 100 prospects list went live on Friday night, and the Mets placed 2 players on it. At number 46 on the list, Brandon Sproat, a right-handed pitcher. And number 58, Jet Williams, shortstop, outfielder. He's played some center field in the minors. You know about Jet Williams. Missed a lot of last year. Had a wrist injury that eventually required surgery. But he's on the list at number 58. Those are the 2 that missed it. Couple of the other guys that were close but didn't make it. Carson Bange was right there. And Jonah Tong and a couple of other of their minor leaguers were, just off the top 100s list. But MLB Pipeline consider these 2 on it, Brandon Sproat and Jet Williams. And both of them could make it up here next year. So we'll have to see how that works out. for the Metsies, whether those guys can make it. There's a lot of competition in spring training this year between Mauricio and Acuna, and Jet Williams and Beatty, and that's just the infielders, and McNeil is still there, don't forget. So we have a lot of, and then we brought in Madrigal, and I can't remember the other guy that they signed, another utility guy they signed earlier. But needless to say, and the Mets are doing some smart things. A lot of the teams are doing it. I shouldn't just say the Mets, but a lot of teams are doing it. And having some of their talented minor league players play different positions, because if you have versatility, it can only help you in the long run. It can't hurt you. It can help you because you can move a person to a certain position. Years ago, they would move people. I mean, Gil Hodges started as a catcher and was moved to first base eventually. And I mean, there's a whole list of them: Ted Simmons and Craig Biggio, and just tons of guys that were moved from. Bryce Harper is another guy, came up as signed. He was a catcher and then moved to the outfield. But these things happen, but you didn't see as much versatility. Yogi Berra, you'd see him play outfield sometimes and catch, and Elston Howard. But other than that, you didn't see a lot of it like you do nowadays. Now there's a lot of guys that are playing different positions. And it's a good idea because it gives the teams a lot more flexibility to move these guys around. So lots of competition in the Mets camp. It's going to be interesting. And let's close out this show on a sad note. Former Major League Baseball Commissioner Fay Vincent died Saturday, February 1st at the age of 86. Vincent presided over the game following the death of his predecessor, Bart Giamatti, in September of 1989. He held the position for nearly 3 years before resigning in 1992. During his 3-year tenure as commissioner, Vincent had a string of what he called 3 cigar days, angering owners, by becoming the first management official to admit the collusion among teams against free agents following the 85, 86, and 87 seasons. He suspended the Yankees' George Steinbrenner. He divided expansion fees among both leagues and attempted to force National League realignment and negotiated a settlement that ended a 1990 spring training lockout. Not to mention an earthquake at the World Series. So he had a lot on his plate. He had a busy time when he was commissioner. But Fay Vincent has passed away at the age of 86. Our condolences go out to the Vincent family. All right, and that's going to wrap it up for this week's show. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope it was all the information up to the minute as I could give you. So hit the like and subscribe button on YouTube. Hit the follow button on Rumble. Hit the subscribe button or follow button, whatever it is, on your podcast apps if you're listening to the audio version of it. That way you'll always know when another edition of Mets Musings is coming out. So, until next time, remember, keep the faith, stay optimistic, and let's go Mets. And I'm Gary Mack, and I'll see you next time when spring training will really be started. I'll see you next time on another edition of Mets Musings.